everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you're doing well. I've tried to film this video a few times and bees keep coming in and outside is distracting me, but I'm going to try again. I'm not going to show you any yarn today. What I wanted to do instead was talk about losing your CroJo and how to possibly help get it back. So I have 10 tips, because 10's a good number, isn't it? The dog sniffing his toy box like he's never seen it before. Yeah, so I have 10 tips on how to possibly help get your CroJo back. Ultimately, if it's gone, don't panic. But sometimes I think you can just get yourself stuck in a rut. So I have my 10 tips. I have them written down on a piece of paper here, so that's what I'm going to keep glancing at. It's just bullet points for me to like talk more about. Did you hear Hugo grumbling then? He's got a toy in his mouth and Hector's like, oh, I'll play. So I'm just going to get on with it and not waffle on forever, because like I said, I've tried to film this already and I can't remember what I have and haven't said, so I'll start again. Number 1, I've written down, take stock of whips, frog, continue, time out. So I have a cupboard upstairs of bags of crochet that some of it is just a bag of wool, some of it's a bag of wool with like 3 rows of something made, some of it's big bags of granny squares or entire half projects, and some things are, I've got a scarf that literally just needs the tassels putting on, but I think it's like, in my opinion, it's a bit too small of a scarf, so I'm just not finishing it. So what I would say is take stock of what you've got, get everything out so you can see it, or at least write a list, so you've got a visual of, I have 5 things, or I have 80 things, whatever the amount is, that's fine, don't panic, and just decide what you're doing with it all. Do you want to continue with it? Do you want to pull it all out, have the yarn for something else, and just be over it? You can come back to it another day. If you use that yarn that was in that project on something else, you can always buy it again, probably. I know it seems like a really privileged thing to say, but you can save up for the yarn if you need to, or you can just use a different colour, like, unless it's like a really expensive hank of yarn. I wouldn't worry too much. I know I don't want that to sound the wrong way, but you know what I mean. Or does the project just need to go in a timeout and be thought about another time? I would say for projects that you're going to continue or time out, before you decide that that's the right option, it sounds like I'm pro frog the project, which I sort of am. I would say, do you have the pattern, the yarn and the hook? So can you easily continue with that project when the time comes? Whether that's now or in the future, do you have the pattern? Do you know what hook size you were using? Do you have the right yarn? Do you have enough yarn? Obviously you won't know for sure if you have enough yarn, but you know, can you make an estimated guess? And if not, perhaps it's time to rethink whether you want to keep that project. And again, don't feel guilt about it. I've got a blanket upstairs, well, I haven't got a blanket, I've got a bag of yarn and granny squares upstairs that were going to be a gift. They were going to make like the stormtrooper blanket. It's like a pixelated picture. You make little granny squares, and it makes a pixelated picture of a stormtrooper. It's in black, white and grey, and I think it's time to say goodbye to that project. It was going to be for my uncle, and I know he would love it, and it's quite a simple project really. You know, there's not a really difficult pattern to follow, but I'm just not feeling it. And I am also thinking that maybe I could make it a lot smaller and just do a cushion, which is doable. So yes. Tip number 2, you won't like this one, but I think you might, well you might not, but I think tidying or rearranging your yarn can help. I think if it's so if it's like mine and you can see the yarn, I think having it tidy and pleasing to look at is helpful for thinking, oh, that colour works with that colour, or that would make a nice whatever. They might work nice in a jumper. If your yarn isn't on show and is in boxes or bags or tubs or whatever, I think having it so that when you go into that tub and you can just pull out the skein of red or whatever, I keep saying whatever, but I'm just trying to use examples, but easily accessible helps. I do think that having a messy space can also clutter your mind. I don't think you need to have like a show home, spotless home to be able to crochet. I'm not saying that at all, because God knows I've not. But I do think if you're like digging through just a mass, a big knot, you're not going to want to use any of those colours. And also I do think that sometimes like rearranging, so if it's not a mess, I'm not saying that everyone's got messy yarn, no shame if you have, no shame if you haven't, it doesn't really matter. But if normally you keep your yarn on a shelf in rainbow order, maybe having the colours rearranged or something else on show and putting the yarn away and having your finished products on the shelf might help. Like just if you physically change what you can see or physically change how you look at your yarn, so if you get all your tubs of yarn out and look through them, if they're always in rainbow order, or if they're always in the, this is the 4 ply, this is the DK, this is the worsted weight, then you're always going to look at it the same. If you change how you physically look at it, then it might change how it inspires you, if that makes sense. Also I've written down, put some yarn away long term. So if you have a lot of yarn and it's overwhelming you, or if you have, for example, I've got some ribbon yarn or scarf yarn I think it is, I'm never going to use it. I don't particularly like the colour. I think it came in a surprise box or something. And I'm just thinking, do you know what? That'd be really nice if at Christmas or birthdays, when I was wrapping presents, if I did it with brown paper and tied that round it like a bow. It only cost 50p a skein. It was on sale. I'm sure it was 50p or it was £1, but it was on sale. You pay a lot more than that for a good spool of ribbon, and so like removing that, and also perhaps removing, if you've got yarn that you really don't like, do you want to keep it? Could you donate it? Do you know what I mean? Just changing things up is point number 2. I should move on because I could go on forever. Number 3, again you won't like this one, but I've put resist the urge to buy more unless you really need it. I think it makes you feel guilty when you don't use it. So I famously or infamously, probably not that famous, but you know what I mean, I bought all the purples and green colours from Love Crochet. I bought all Stylecraft, and then I think I'd bought 2 of everything, and then I also did another haul after, I believe, that was single skeins and pretty much like a rainbow. And I went mad, and I've not used, in fact I know I've not used any of it because I'm like saving it because it's special, because it's Stylecraft, ooh. But, and I think I've not used any of it, and I think it just makes you feel more guilty. That's probably like 50 quid's worth of yarn, if I'm being really honest, that I didn't need. I still don't know what I'm going to do with it. I know I'll use it and I know it's not going to go off, and I probably would have spent the money on something else that was equally frivolous, but that yarn is now sat upstairs making me feel guilty, and sometimes I get quite stressed out, like I should just use it. So I would, unless you really need it to finish a project off, or you really, I'm not saying don't buy yarn, but if you have seen something that you really want and you know you're going to use it as soon as it comes, don't buy it, because it just makes you feel worse. I know it's not the most fun thing to say, and I know sometimes there's dogs barking outside, I'm sorry. I know sometimes we use, or I do anyway, I use yarn as a bit of a, and I mean that for books as well. That's my next point. Look through old patterns, Ravelry, don't buy more. Free patterns obviously are okay, but I think sometimes I treat myself to like craft supplies, because it's not clothes and it's not like chocolate in the shopping or wine, or I think it's like more substantial presents to myself, but I think it just makes you feel guilty that you're not using it all. and I put the same look through old patterns to inspire you, look through your Ravelry, look on Instagram, I don't know, watch YouTube videos, watch my old videos, but do you know what I mean, like watch old crochet vlogs, just look at what you already have accessible to you, as in, oh, there's a bee coming in, and see if that like sparks your interest, like, oh, I really want to make that baby blanket, or oh, I really want to make that teddy bear, but don't buy more, because I don't think it helps. If you have no CroJo, if you've lost your CroJo is what I'm saying, this is what this is all about. But yeah, obviously have all the free patterns, because why not? The more the merrier. Although I don't buy that many patterns or download that many patterns because I don't have a printer, and just looking on my phone is too little. Point number 5, moving on. Try other creative outlets. I think this is a good idea. I think pom-pomming, I think if you're a crocheter, try knitting, cross stitch, or something completely different, baking, drawing, painting, decorating your house, gardening, whatever else you like doing, or you don't know you like doing, but like everyone, was it last year or the year before, everyone started doing the 5D paintings, and some people loved them, and that's great, like it's like a new thing to discover. So again, don't like go out and buy loads of craft supplies, because if you have loads of crochet stuff and then loads of painting stuff and you're not doing anything, you're going to feel more guilty, and I think the guilt just adds to the like, oh my god, I have all this wool or all these paints and I'm not doing anything with it and I'm so bad. You're not, but we all feel like that. But maybe try different creative outlets, so you're still making and you're still enjoying yourself, and you're still being creative. I think creativity is really important, but it doesn't have to be crochet. You will come back to it, you will get the CroJo back, but just try something else for a bit. I've put point number 6, remove pressure / obligations. So if you're making a baby blanket for your friend's baby, or a cardigan who's due to be born in September, if you don't give them that till December for Christmas or the New Year, obviously the sizing will matter, but maybe just make the bigger size and give it to them a bit later. Again, you don't have to make everyone a Christmas present, you don't have to make everyone in your family a blanket. It's okay if you just made it for the boys and not the girls, and vice versa. I know it's not ideal, and realistically we would like to, for our whole family, to just look like we've crocheted them, but if you've lost your CroJo, it's okay. Just and I know it's easier said than done, and if you own a crochet business and that's how you bring your money in, it's not ideal for me to be going, just remove all the obligation, it's fine. But stop selling blankets, sell something else. I don't know. Like I say, that bit's easier said than done. I would also perhaps pause any crochet alongs or make alongs that you're doing. I'm sure the content for you to continue that, if you want to, will be there in the future. But just because something is released monthly doesn't mean you have to make it monthly. And again, it just relieves a bit of the pressure and a bit of the, you must make this now, because I don't think that helps when you're like, I don't want to make it. It's like when you were little, being told to do something that you didn't want to do, like you're not going to do it. But if your mum or your dad or whoever was like, do not pick that up, you're like, I'm going to pick it up. And I've also, this is a hard one, but I see a lot of people worry that crochet is their way to calm themselves down. It's their way to sort of zone out. It helps them with their mental health. It does, but it's not the only thing that will help you. It's not the only way that you will be able to zone out. You might struggle with that, and I'm really sorry, and I have felt that as well, because I do find that crochet does help me, but I think it's equally as important to try and remember that other things can help you as well. Boys, Hugo is very relaxed and Hector has just pretty much jumped like that close to his face. He's not happy. Hector! Now he's in the blind. Brilliant. Yeah, sorry, I think it's really important to remember that other things, going for your daily walk, gardening, reading a book, they can, he's like so close to sitting on his head. Sorry, I feel like this is an important point and I'm getting distracted, but other things can help you with zoning out and staying calm and, you know, like depressurizing at the end of the day and just sort of having 5 minutes. If you've lost your CroJo and crochet and you can't crochet, don't worry that that is the only thing that can sort of help you. Just try and find something else that can help you. Again, it's easier said than done, but if you're getting really worried and worked up and panicking that, oh my goodness, I really want to crochet but it's not, I can't, I'm not enjoying it, but that's the only way I can calm down, that's not going to help you. Just watch telly or, you know, do something really relaxed and chilled, have a bath, cook a meal, whatever your thing is that's not crochet, do that instead. And just try and find a bit of peace. There is a wasp. It's gone. Number 7, which sort of feeds into that, guilt-free time off, and there's no time limit. So if you have lost your CroJo and you want time off, you can, and it's okay. I know it sounds really silly to say, but I'm sure a lot of you will understand why I've said it. If you take a year off crochet, you will still come back to it. There's no time limit. I can't tell you that it will take a year or it will take 9 months. It might not take that long, but your yarn won't go off, your patterns will still be there, you will still know how to do it. You might need a refresher and that's fine, but it's okay if you need some time off. It might only be a couple of weeks or a couple of days, but if it's more long time, that's fine, and just don't feel guilty about it. Again, try not to feel obligated that you've got to make this for this person, or you wanted to make yourself this, or you're going to do Christmas decorations or Halloween pumpkins, or you've got a Christmas or a summer fair coming up or whatever. Just enjoy a bit of no crochet time if that's what you need. If you've lost your CroJo, forcing yourself to do it really isn't going to help, I don't think. If you have lost your CroJo but you really don't want time off, obviously try a lot of these, but the point number 8 I've got is change all that you can. I think sometimes we get stuck in our ways, and that's how you get stuck in a rut, and maybe that's why you've lost your CroJo. So maybe just try something simple, that rather than sitting in this chair, sit in this chair. Rather than crocheting in the morning, can you crochet at night? Can you have a portable project so that you can crochet? Oh, there's a wasp. It might not be a wasp, it might be a fly. Can you crochet at work or in your car? Or obviously don't go and like sit in the car and crochet because you'll get hot, but you know, like if you're waiting, I don't know, if you're waiting in the car, the world is a very different place right now, so you're not going to be waiting in the car for much, but I'm sure someone somewhere has to wait in their car for something. But just can use a different hook, can you craft at a different time of day? Just I think I, as well as other people, I know Kirk, who doesn't crochet, but he gets very stuck in his ways, and sometimes me going, why do we just not do it this way? He's like, oh yeah. So maybe just take a bit of a look at how you operate. I feel like I'm not forming words. And just see what you can change using different hooks, maybe just using pretty stitch markers because you like using them, even though you don't particularly need to mark your stitches. If you really like working from a pattern, try working from a video. If you really like making shawls, try making scarves. I don't know, I don't want to just sorry. I don't want to just bombard you with meaningless words, but you know what I mean, like what can you change, and try changing it, and if it doesn't work, go back to what you used to do, that's fine. Point number 9, I've written I've written Stitch Bingo, Denise 3-hour project, Kendra hooked by happenstance, Peachlet reading shawl. What that means, you can tell by, like, I was like, I just want to get it filmed. What I mean is, if you do have to get something finished, or you do really want, if you're making a massive project and you really want to get it finished, but it's just driving you bonkers, and that's sort of why you're losing your CroJo, maybe you can do what Denise did with her 3-hour 3 project thing that she was doing, where she'd work for 3 hours. She'd work an hour on this, an hour on that, and an hour on another. If you only have an hour and a half, just use 30 minutes. Maybe on a Monday you're going to work on your blanket, on a Tuesday you're going to work on your cross stitch, on a Wednesday you're going to work on your knitting your socks. Maybe just so you're making progress, even if it's just a little bit, but you're making progress nonetheless, but you're like mixing things up a bit. So I very much just go with what I fancy doing, but then sometimes I'm like, I've made 17,000 squares, I'm sick of it, and at that point I perhaps should go, right, stop making squares, I'm now going to go and make some face scrubbies. Do you know what I mean? Whatever works for you. So I've written Kendra hooked by happenstance. She does a lot of things like that. So she has Peachlet, where she go over and watch a channel, but basically she, rather than picking the project, she sort of she'll draw a number out of a hat, or she's got Peachlet who has numbered pegs on her dress, and those numbered pegs correspond to a certain area of yarn in her craft room. She will go to that area and think, oh, I really like this blue colour, I could make this out of it, rather than thinking, I want to use this, I want to use this red skein of yarn, I don't know what to do with it. Do you know what I mean? Just thinking differently. And she's made reading shawls that particular sections of books or particular books have different meanings, again, like making a mood blanket. Oh, there's dogs barking outside. Now my dog's going to go and bark at those dogs. Yeah, just trying different, and there'll be loads of people online that do things like this. They're just the ones that I know of, but trying to see if you can perhaps do that as well. Just try and think about how you make, so if you're the kind of person that will sit for hours looking through patterns and think, oh, I really want to make this jumper, that yarn would look nice in this jumper, that's what I'll do. If that's how you normally operate, I don't know why I did that so dramatically. If that's how you normally operate and you've lost your CroJo, you need to think of a different way of operating. So maybe instead of picking the pattern then the yarn, maybe you need to pick the yarn and then the pattern, or vice versa. So that's just what I meant by that. Or try, the Stitch Bingo relates to, Denise was talking on one of her vlogs this week, I'm not sure what day, I've been watching everything out of order, that she watches a lady who cross stitches, and to keep herself interested in the cross stitch, what I gather is that she will do sort of a bingo. So each section of her cross stitch, I think she used the example that there was a bird cage, and so when she picks out section number 9, that relates to the bird cage, and so she'll do it by chance rather than, you know, she might normally work from the centre out, but she'll do it by how the bingo's telling her. I know what I mean. Am I making sense? Point number 10. Stop comparing yourself to others. No. I've put following/unfollowing social media, don't compare. I think sometimes we can compare ourselves to other people. I think that social media is wonderful. It's connected me to all you lot, and it brings me so much inspiration. Was it not for YouTube, I wouldn't be crocheting, and that's where I think I find most of my, if not all of my inspiration from, is Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube. But there are some times that I find myself, rather than finding inspiration or seeking ideas, I find myself looking at people going, well, they're better than me, or I could never make that, or well, they use they use loads of pastel colours and it looks really nice and I should use pastel colours, or they only work in neons and why should I only work in neons. And do you know what I mean? Like, I would never copy off someone because I don't think that's nice. But I think sometimes because I'm not like someone else that I'm not good enough, or they're better than me. And so I think it's very important to be cautious of social media in that respect, and try not to compare yourself to other people. But I do also think that sometimes it's okay if for a little bit, or more permanently, if you stop watching or following somebody, if the way they make you feel isn't good. I'm not saying that they're a bad person or you don't like them or whatever, you know, that anything they've done is wrong. But if you find viewing their content gives you a negative experience because it makes you feel less than them, or because it makes you not feel good, then maybe it's okay if you just unfollow them for just a week or a month or a couple of months, whatever, until you feel better and until you've got your spark back and until you're, you know, back at feeling yourself with the crochet. Maybe it's okay if you, I'm not saying unfollow everyone, but I think sometimes that's needed, and I think I need to do that sometimes as well. Not with anyone on YouTube, but maybe I need to stop looking through Pinterest all the while, looking at all these absolutely amazing amigurumis that are absolutely perfect, and then I make a lumpy old bear and I'm like, oh. Do you know what I mean? So those are my 10 points. I have also written down cotton box, which means I have, for when I don't know what to do, I have this box. It holds my cotton yarn in. It's not cotton for any particular reason other than I was convinced that I was going to make face scrubbies and washcloths, and I did, but I bought too much. But when I don't know what to do crochet wise or in between projects, I will come to this and make a washcloth or a rainbow or a couple of face scrubbies. And this is like my between projects thing. There's lots of pretty colours. You can make lots of different colour combinations, you know. I can make something reasonably practical. I can make a little plant pot cozy or whatever, and I feel like I've made something. I think the instant gratification of making something small helps. And then I've put variegated yarn because I think that in a ball of variegated yarn, even if you don't really know what you're doing, if you're just going to make a massive granny square and let that turn into something else eventually, I think getting to the next colour, then seeing how like the colours work up, that can sort of spur you on a bit. And finally I've written jumbo hook because I didn't have much space, but what I meant by that was, you know, the blankets where you hold like 4 strands of yarn together and you use a big hook, or 3 or whatever, however many strands of yarn, and you use a bigger hook and you make a blanket or a table mat or whatever. I just say blanket a lot because that's what I like doing. But you make something that you're holding more strands of it because it grows quicker. So rather than going around the blanket 100 times, you might only have to go around 25 times to achieve a similar sort of size. You're getting the instant gratification. It's just a little good idea. They're like if you really do want to keep crocheting, they're the things that I like to do. So I hope this has been at least helpful. I hope I've not waffled on too much. I hope it's made some sort of sense. I think it would be good if in the comments you could leave... Oh, my battery's dying. If you could leave a comment about how you keep your CroJo going, or any tips that you might have for someone that's lost their CroJo. I think I'm doing all right at the minute, but we'll see how long that lasts. And also, if you want to make any kind of video like this, or post or picture or whatever platform you like to use, if you would like to make a video like this and share your tips for what to do when you've lost your CroJo, I'm sure people who have lost their CroJo would be very grateful. So like I say, I hope this helps. I hope you're all well. I'm going to go because this has been a very long video, and also the sun's starting to burn my knee a little bit. I'm sat with it on me now. Oh, I've got a cardigan on as well, but the sun's coming on to me. Anyhow, thank you all for watching. See you all soon, and stay safe and take care. Bye.